This is the Skoda Kamiq. It's a small SUV with the same basic underpinnings as the Volkswagen Polo and the Audi A1. And today, we've got the style base model here. It's also available in the Monte Carlo and the Signature, but today we're going to be focusing on this style base model variant. The Skoda Kamiq style that we have here is priced from around $38,000 drive away, which makes it about $5,000 more expensive than some of its base equivalents, such as the Kia Seltos, the Hyundai Kona, and the Toyota CHR. Now, the Skoda Kamiq has certainly been cheaper in the past, and it was also offered in a manual at one point too. But look, in 2023, I want to tell you today that this is the best driving small SUV on the market. I'm going to run through all the things that make this Kamiq so good, from its interior to its technologies, to its great running costs, and also its spaciousness, and most importantly, how it drives. So let's dive in and see everything to do with the Skoda Kamiq style.
Chasing cars, honest reviews of your next car. Brought to you by
So at the front of the Skoda Kamiq, let's have a quick talk about design. Now, I really think this is a really youthful and stylish little car. And part of the reason for that is these 18-inch alloy wheels on the side. Now, they're the same as what you get on the flagship Signature range. So you're getting really good wheels on the base car, which I think is great. And also, I'd like to mention this car can come in orange. It is an extra $1,100, but I think it's worth it. I love orange. Everyone should love orange. So what are my initial impressions of the interior of the Skoda Kamiq? Well, in the style variant, look, it's pretty good for the money in here. You do get cloth seats, no leather seats unfortunately, but you do get a really lovely leather steering wheel that's got sort of sports accents on it, which is really nice, and it's really nice to hold and use too. Now, in terms of interior trim, most of it's pretty good and it's kind of soft all around. There's not too many scratchy plastics, which is good considering this is the base model of the Skoda Kamiq range. Now, the front seats, they are manually adjusted. There's no electronic adjustment for these seats, but that's fine. One thing I did notice, however, is that the driver's seat doesn't go particularly low. This is currently at its lowest setting, but that's fine for most uses. Now, the biggest feature probably for me inside this Kamiq's interior is the massive 10.25-inch digital driver cluster. That's really, really good. It's really clear. There's a lot of functionality in it, and it's easy to use, which is really important. Now, also included is an 8-inch central touchscreen that runs all your infotainment. It also runs wireless Apple CarPlay, but it is wired for Android Auto. Other big highlights inside the Kamiq, you've got a wireless charger down here, you've got 2 USB-C ports, and you've also got a pretty decent bin in here to store stuff if you want to. Side bins are really good, and in the door, you get an umbrella. Other notable features are dual zone climate control just down here, and as well, for the sound geeks out there, there's an 8-speaker sound system fitted as standard. So what's it like in the backseat of the Skoda Kamiq? Well, for a 5'11" guy like me, who's not the smallest unit in the world, I'm actually really comfortable in here. I've got heaps of knee room, plenty of toe room, and the headroom in here is actually really impressive for a car of this size. Like, it's only a small SUV, but it is really deceptive in here in terms of space. Other things you should know about the back seat of the Kamiq, you've got air vents on both sides, you've got 2 USB-C ports, as well as pretty decent sized door bins as well for your drinks, but there is no fold down armrest. So, coming around to the boot of the Skoda Kamiq, the first thing that you notice is that it's got an electric tailgate, even on the base style model, which I think is really neat. Now inside, you've got 400 litres of space to store stuff, and it goes up to 1,300 litres worth of space with all the seats lying flat. There's also a full-size spare wheel and a few little nooks and crannies here to store stuff as well. So in general, the Skoda Kamiq has a really practical boot. In terms of running costs, Skoda claims an average fuel consumption figure of 5.4 litres per 100 kilometres. However, during our week of testing, we were able to get 5.5 litres per 100 kilometres, which is pretty close. So well done there. Now, it's really worth noting that the Skoda Kamiq requires 95 octane across the range. So you will have to factor that in terms of fuel cost. The Kamiq is backed by a 7-year unlimited kilometre warranty. And over 5 years for servicing, it'll cost you $1,800. Over the last 12 months, the median budget direct customer paid $825 to comprehensively insure their new Skoda Kamiq. Your premium may vary based on things that insurers take into account, such as your age, driving history, where you live, and whether or not you garage the car. Okay, so what is the Skoda Kamiq like when you're driving behind the wheel? Well, let me tell you, this thing is a hoot. And the reason for it is because of a couple of things. And we'll start off with the powertrain. The powertrain for the Skoda Kamiq style is a 1 litre, 3-cylinder turbocharged petrol engine. It produces 85 kilowatts of power and 200 Newton meters of torque. And I think it's really that torque figure that is really impressive. 85 kilowatts might not feel like a lot, but when you got that 200 Newton meters of torque, it's that punch that gets you up to speed and going, which is excellent. Now, one of the reasons I really love this engine is that I've experienced a very similar engine in my long-termer that I had last year, the Kia Picanto GT. It too was a turbocharged 1 litre, 3-cylinder engine. And I just love the way they sound. They've got a really nice little thrum to them. They're really quite torquey, as I've just explained. And they're a little bit different to your regular 4-cylinder engine. So that is an extra bonus as well. Now, talking about how the car steers and how it is dynamically, this car is a stellar car when it comes to driving dynamics. And that comes down to the fact that it has really, really nice steering, really quick turn in, and the suspension is set up a little bit firmer than some other small SUVs, but in doing so, it is so much better in the corners. Now, the Skoda Kamiq is not a performance car by any measure, but this thing does not feel like an SUV at all. It feels much more like a hatchback in the way that it drives, the way that it goes around corners. It's really, really fun. It's pretty chuckable, and look, if you like driving cars, you will really enjoy driving this Skoda Kamiq. But it's not just about dynamics, it's also about how comfortable the car is day to day. And the suspension for this car is really, really pretty good. It is a little bit firm, as I said just before, but it handles the bumps really nicely, and around town it is perfectly fine, and it'll be comfortable for the whole family. The 1 litre 3-cylinder petrol engine, it is a real highlight of this car, and it mates really well with the gearbox too. Now, this transmission is a 7-speed dual clutch automatic transmission, and it's really, really good at coasting along, and you can really tell that it's been tuned for fuel efficiency. Now, that's really, really important, especially these days with fuel prices so high. You want to get that fuel economy figure as low as possible. And in our testing, we got it down to about 5.5 litres per 100 kilometres combined. That's not bad considering the size of the vehicle and also the weight of the vehicle. And one thing I'll also add about the Skoda Kamiq is the fact that it is a safe car too. Now, in 2019, the car received a 5-star NCAP safety rating, and it did really, really well in terms of adult occupant protection, which is really, really good to hear. But also, it's got a lot of standard safety equipment fitted as standard, such as lane keep assist, autonomous emergency braking. However, it does miss out on rear cross traffic alert. But all in all, I think the Skoda Kamiq is an excellent little package. And as I've said on and on and on again, that this is, in my opinion, the best driving small SUV on sale in Australia. Now, the Skoda Kamiq might be a little bit more expensive than its competitors, but look, it is worth it. This car drives exceptionally well. And not only does it drive well, it's also very practical, it has a good warranty, it's got a nice interior, and the technologies inside it work really well too. It's got an awesome little 3-cylinder turbocharged engine, a pretty good gearbox, and it really drives more like a hatchback than an SUV. Now, throughout the Chasing Cars office, we all love the Skoda Kamiq. We think it's an awesome little car, and it's really great value for the money. But I want to hear what you have to say about the Skoda Kamiq down in the comments below. And while you're there, make sure to like and subscribe. And as always, thanks for watching Chasing Cars.